Hey everyone, this is Rob from WaveDivision Audio, and today I am excited to announce that we have released our first virtual instrument library, Mr. J's Bass. Mr. J's Bass is deep sampled from an American-made bass guitar from 1974, and we sampled it through high-end studio gear. So you can be sure it'll sound great on your demos or all the way to your final release if your bass player has bad tone. So what I'd like to do is walk you through all of the features of Mr. J's Bass and how to get the most out of it. We're excited about it, and we hope you are too. Let's dive right in. All right, so here is Mr. J's Bass, and there are three main sections that I would like to walk through. The first one being the mode and vibe section here. So under the mode section, we have mono and chord. So mono is basically just one note at a time. And so let's say if you are playing and you have, a slight overlap with the notes, the note that was previously played will no longer be playing. Only the most recent note that is being pressed. Now, the chord mode is basically multiple notes at the same time. So let's say if you're doing some nice melody work and you wanted to have a drone note underneath it, definitely go with the chord mode. That will allow you to play multiple notes at the same time. All right, the vibe section. We have DI, clean, edge, and dirt. So the DI section is the raw signal that is coming off of the bass whenever we sampled it. So let's say if you prefer to have ultimate flexibility and you want to process it in your own signal chain without any pre-baked effects, then definitely go with the DI. You will have the most flexibility there. Now the next section is clean. It's similar to DI, however, we just pushed a little bit of saturation on it and some light compression. So it kind of just tightens it up and gives it just a little bit of edge just to kind of let it cut through a little bit more. So speaking of edge, the next vibe is edge. So this one, it's baked into the saturation a little bit more. So that'll definitely give you more breakup. The compression is a little bit more. So just to kind of, iron out any, dynamics, just to kind of give more of a consistent sound on the bass. The edge is definitely it without going over the edge. Okay, so the next vibe is dirt. This one is just like the name implies, it's dirty. This is, in your face, just distortion. If you want something completely over the top, definitely go with the dirt option. All right. So the next section is the options down below. We have articulation, fret range, round robin, noise, and tone. So on Mr. J's Bass, we have three main articulations. So we have the sustain, we have the slide articulation, and we have dead note articulation. So we will go over what all is what whenever we get to the piano roll section. So skipping over to round robin, we have a drop down here. We have alternating, random, round robin 1, and round robin 2. So the default is alternating. It is going back and forth between the round robins. But if you don't want alternating, you just want, it to still have some realism, but you don't really care about it going back and forth, you can just select random, and it will randomly pick between round robin 1 and round robin 2. So let's say if you do want that super consistent, mechanical machine gun like bass being played, then definitely go with round robin 1 or round robin 2. Play around with it and see what fits your track the best. All right, so the next section is noise. We have string, mute, and pickup noise. So the first one is the string noise. So what string noise are we talking about here? So that is the noise from the bass player's hand moving across the string. So between each note, we have the string noise. So that basically emulates, like, let's say if, a bass player slides down to a particular note, that tiny little bit of squeak is going to be played in between those notes, which kind of adds a little bit more realism to the notes that you are playing on the MIDI keyboard. Now, the mute, that is the moment the bass player picks his or her finger up off of the fretted note. So it kind of gives this really quick buzz after a note is played. Again, these are very, very nuanced details that, if you were to listen to a live bass player, you would hear these things. But sometimes they get lost in the VST or the virtual instrument world. So we wanted to give full control back to you, the producer, to figure out what works best in your track. If you need something super clean, you don't want all this noise in between the notes, then simply turn it down. That's all you have to do. But on the other hand, if you are creating a really vibey track and you want it to be as realistic as possible, just turn these up a little bit and blend to taste. So these two are really helpful to kind of inject the realism into this virtual bass plugin. All right, so the last noise option is the pickup noise. So Mr. J's bass, like I had mentioned before, was made in the 70s, and the electronics definitely had some buzz in it. So whenever we sampled it, we did some post-production on it to remove all that noise, to try and get the cleanest signal possible. However, with the bass being so old, it does have a very specific sonic characteristic. But with that, the pickup noise kind of adds to it. So I didn't want to completely remove it, but I wanted to, kind of give you as the user an option to have that if you wanted it. So here, I'll turn it up just so you can hear it. It's kind of subtle, but whenever it's compressed, it'll definitely come out a lot more. But having that hiss and the buzz definitely adds to the realism of, having, a live bass player playing on your track. So again, if you don't need it on your track, then just get rid of it. But it's there if you do need it. All right, moving on to the tone knob. So this behaves in the exact same way that the tone knob is on a bass. If there is any top end that's just, you don't want it there, it's too crispy or too much zing on the bass, you can just roll that back and that will give you a lot more mellow tone. So definitely, again, play around with that, adjust it to however you like it the best. All right, moving on to the articulation section. There's a lot going on under the hood over here on the piano roll. So like I'd mentioned before, the articulations on Mr. J's bass, we have three main articulations. We have sustain, slide, and dead notes. So let's start with the sustain. So with the sustain, we have the green keys and the purple keys to the right over here. So the green keys control the fret range and the purple keys control the string lock. So let's go back to the green keys here. So right now we have fret range 0 through 4 selected. So what does this mean? Okay, so the fret range 0 through 4 is going to be all of the open strings here up to the 4th fret on the fretboard plus the higher notes. Okay, so whenever an E note is played, it's going to be played on the open string. If there's an A, it's going to be the open string. Now, let's say you want to play an A on the E string, which would be the 5th fret. Okay, so we would just click the second green key here, and that would select fret range 5 through 9. So here we have this section here, and the string crossing will be in this 5 through 9 section, with the exception of the lower notes or the higher notes. So let's say if we are playing a low E with fret range 5 through 9 selected, the open string will play, but then we play an A, the 5th fret will be played. And that is true for the other keys, right? So fret range 10 through 14, that one will give you all of the notes in here, except for the lower notes and the higher notes that are being played. Again, the fret range 15 through 20, same exact thing. All right, so now the next section with the purple the purple keys here, with the fret range, we have string locks. So what does this mean? So string locks basically only plays the notes that are on that particular string. So for example, let's say if I play an open E string, the low note here, but I wanted to play the E note up top, that note would be played with the string lock on. So yeah, let's just say if we're, riffing on something and, the A string is a little bit, too light sounding, and we want something a little bit more round and full, I would definitely, lean towards the string lock E, or the opposite. If you want something locked on the A string and you just want to play all the high notes here, you can do that, with the exception of the lower notes on the E string. So let's say if string lock A is selected, we would still get, the G sharp, G, F sharp, F, and open E. And the same thing goes for any note that is higher than all the notes on the A string, so going up on the G. So that is pretty much it for the sustain and string locks. So let's switch over to the slides. So the slide articulation, we have a couple different kinds. We have slide up tonal, we have slide down tonal, we just have atonal slides, and then we have up and down slides. So what we're going to do is start with the slide up tonal. It's basically what the name implies. We're stopping on a note whenever we slide up to it. So if you see here on the piano roll, we have a blue section. We have a couple different blue sections. Each section is going to represent each string, right? So for example, we are on the E string right here, but we want to slide up to an A. There it is. So I just played the A note here on the piano roll, and that plays the slide up to the A. Now let's say if we want to go to a C. There it is. And that rule applies for each string as well. So there we go, to a D on the A string. So yeah, the slide up tonals, that's how you would get to that note if you want to slide into it. So the second green key is just the slide up. This will be atonal. There is no ending note, but you do get the slide. So at the very end, it just cuts off. So if you want to do a slide, let's say if you're on the E string, but you want to do a slide to the octave, for example, the octave of E, what you could do is slide up to a B, and then hit the E note on the sustain articulation. But each note here is cut off at the end, so you have flexibility to add whatever you want to after that slide. Okay, so the third blue key is the atonal slide down. So again, previously we talked about each blue section representing a string. We can apply that same rule to the E string. We're on the C, we have a B, and so forth. So each note you want to slide down on, it is available per string. And again, to reiterate, each one of these blue sections represents a string. So this will be the A string. So, like so. All right. Now the last slide articulation, we have slide up, down. And this is kind of like the smooth slide, kind of going into a song or bridge or anything that needs a little bit more vibe. Take a listen here. Yep. Yep. Each string is there. Burn, burn. That's the sauce, man. That's the sauce. Yep. Can't beat that. Not much to say about that. I mean, it's just a slide up, down, nothing tonal about it. So next and final section, is the dead articulation. So the dead articulation is not tonal. I do have it per string because each dead note per string does have a different characteristic that I wanted to have in there for you. Yep. So let's say if you're doing, a groove and you wanted a dead note in between each section or a little in between each note, really, really easy to add it with the dead articulation here. All right, guys. So that was it. I hope you found this walkthrough helpful, and I hope you are excited about Mr. J's bass. And if you have any questions, comments, please email me, contact me through the form on my website, DM me on Instagram. I check all of those. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And we hope you guys go make some great music with it. Please share it with us. We love to hear it. And until next time, peace.